This is my absolute #1 tip for anyone who wants to learn to get better at drafting in Magic Arena. If you don't do this, you're literally missing out on doubling your gold and doubling your experience in draft events. So it's a no-brainer, really. Welcome back to Game School Dad with me, Martin. Today I'm going through my absolute best tip for anyone who wants to get better at draft events. And this is intended specifically for you if you are the kind of player who wants to build up a collection of standard to be able to play standard relatively competitively, do well in ranked games, and to not be frustrated by losing all the time. And you know that you're going to build up a better collection by doing draft events, but maybe you're not very good at them, or maybe you're not very experienced at draft events. But this is my #1 tip to help you get better at those events and get better rewards. You're going to collect more cards and build up your collection even faster. So if you're free to play or a budget player, then this is going to be an absolute great tip for you. So basically all you need to do is make yourself a second account in Magic Arena. So you have your main account. This is the account where you are trying to build the biggest collection you can, trying to play all the fantastic new cards that come out and build all the best decks. This is the account that everything revolves around. But if you have a second account, then you can use your second account to collect lots of gold that you can then use to enter more draft events. And the best way to get better at draft events is to practice, is to enter more draft events. But you can't enter as many as you want on just one account because you have to pay your gold or you have to pay your gems to enter, and that's a limited resource that we have. So by having a second account, you can build up more gold or build up more gems and enter more draft events. But there are certain things you might want to do on your main account and you might want to do on a second account differently. So apart from the benefits of having a second account, I'm going to quickly run through what you might want to do on your second account to make it as valuable as possible. First of all, on your second account, you can do all the basic things which you already know, which is you take your daily quests and you re-roll any 500s, and if you're very lucky, you get a 750. I'm not very lucky today, so I have another 500. But we can get lots of gold from these daily quests, and we can get gold from our daily wins. And we can take all this gold and we can go to our limited events and we can enter quick drafts. Now, it doesn't matter what the quick draft, the current set is for quick draft. It doesn't matter if it's the most recent one or not, because we're not doing this to build a collection on this second account. It doesn't matter what the collection is like on the second account. What matters is we're getting some practice at draft events. So we could enter a quick draft, whether it's an old set or the current set, and you're going to get more practice at picking those cards. And especially if you're new with drafting, quick draft is amazing because you don't have any time limit at all on picking each card. You could literally take 10 minutes for every single card and look it up and see what other people think of that card and look at different decks you can make with this card. You could go into huge depth, but it's probably better not to take quite so long because you want to get used to the idea of picking them a bit faster. You don't want to take ages going through a draft, but you can take as long as you need, basically. Now, if you want to get better at drafting the current set, because you're going to then be doing lots of quick drafts of the current set on your main account, then fair enough, you might want to wait. Just save up as much gold as you can for now. And then as soon as the current set becomes the one that you can do quick draft events for, you would come to your second account, do as many quick draft events as you can, using up all your gold and your gems. And then that would give you a good amount of experience of which cards work well and what other things you need to look out for. And then you can go over to your regular account, your primary account, and then you could enter the quick drafts with that account. And you're going to have lots of experience of it. So you're going to be better now than you would have been if you hadn't done any practice on your second account. But if you just want some practice at doing quick draft events of any set, just to get used to picking things and how the games work, then you might be wondering, how many quick drafts can I actually get on a second account, and is it going to take up all of my time? And we're going to go through some tips that are going to make sure that this isn't double the work. It's actually going to be a lot less work, but still you're going to get double the experience in quick draft events. So first of all, you need to make sure you're doing your daily quests. You're getting your 500 gold or your 750 gold for doing those quests, which means you're going to get somewhere around the average of 600 gold each day just from doing the quests. And if you get just one win each day, you're going to get 250 gold as well. So even just for one win a day, you're going to get on average about 850 gold per day, which is the equivalent of getting 5,000 gold every roughly 6 days. So that's going to pay for one quick draft every 6 days if you get just one win per day. But for your second win per day, you get an extra 100. For your third win, you get 100. For your fourth win, you get 100. So if you take your daily wins up to 2 or 3 on your second account, you'll get about 1,000 gold a day, which is enough for a quick draft every 5 days. Or if you go all the way to 4 wins, you'll get enough gold to do a quick draft every 4 to 4.5 days. So depending on how much time you have to invest in your second account, depends on how many extra quick draft events you will have the gold to pay for. And because each quick draft will only give you somewhere between 0 and 7 wins for the whole draft, we can't rely on the quick draft games to give us the daily wins. So we need to find other ways to get our daily wins and actually to complete the daily quests as well, because if we're doing a draft event and we're using a red and black deck and we have a daily quest for white or green spells, we're not going to complete it. So we need a way to be able to complete our daily quests that doesn't rely on the quick draft games. So there are 2 ways I recommend you do this. You can pick one or the other, whichever one works best for you. The first way you can do this is by going to limited games and playing jump-in events. Now you do have to pay 1,000 gold to enter the jump-in event, but when you enter it, you pick your 2 half packs and put them together, you make a 40 card deck, and you play against other people that are using decks of the same kind of power level. Obviously, there are some half packs that work better together than others, and some that are just better in general. So you could possibly enter a jump-in event and get a bad combination of decks, or you could enter a jump-in event and get the best combination of decks that's ever been. A couple of ones I could suggest. There are 2 different werewolf packs. If you get them both together, they work together really well. There's also spirits and soldiers work together really well if you happen to pick those up. Or if you get packs from the new set, then either completed and corrupted work really well together, or venom and virulent work really well together. That's the green and black pack. But there's so many different packs to choose from, I can't guarantee which ones you're going to find if you pay your 1,000 gold to enter the jump-in event. But if you get a good one, you don't have to pay any more gold. You can basically just use that deck to play against other people that are a similar power level, which means it doesn't matter what your collection is. It doesn't matter if you have no other cards. Your opponent is not going to be in a better position to you. You won't be at any disadvantage. So getting those daily wins is actually kind of easy because it puts everyone on a completely level playing field. So jump-in events are one option, one way you could possibly get your daily wins. But it might still limit you to 2 colors, and those 2 colors might not be on your daily quests. So again, if you have a red and black, really good red and black jump-in deck that you're playing with, and you have a green and white daily reward that you want to complete, or they're all green and white, you're not going to make any progress with a black and red jump-in deck. So there is a second option of how you could get your daily gold, and that is by using budget decks or budget aggro decks. So the decks that I have on this account are basically all relatively budget friendly decks. I've used the rares that I happen to have picked up from packs and gotten from rewards from doing previous jump-in events and other things. So some of these decks that I have will have relatively good cards in them. Things like Steel Seraph, Elspeth, Sanctuary Warden. Okay, yeah, we've got some really good things here. Adeline's really good. And the Wandering Emperor, obviously. So lots of really good white cards, but that's basically all the good white cards I had. I put them into a deck. And it's not the best deck there is, but it worked pretty well for me. Also have things like a mono red aggro deck. So if you have a red daily quest that you need to get your 500 gold for, you can just play this. And you're going to cast lots of red spells. So it's going to get you your daily reward pretty quickly. Whether or not it happens to get you wins as well, but it does win pretty well, the red aggro deck. So that's the second way you can get your daily quests and daily wins. If the jump-in deck doesn't fit the colors you want and you need some more gold to be able to afford your next quick draft, then just play a relatively simple, relatively budget-friendly deck. Use whatever cards you happen to have. Take them to the standard play queue, because that's the best place to play out relatively budget-friendly or artisan decks, because you're going to be matched up to other decks that are of a similar strength, according to however the algorithm works. So you're unlikely to be playing against all the best cards in Standard, which means you're more likely to get your daily wins. And although the daily wins are important for getting your gold, the daily quests make a bigger difference. So you need to make sure you're just casting that number of those color spells rather than winning lots of games. And you'll win some games along the way anyway, so you'll get your daily wins. So whether you choose to do the jump in events or do some kind of relatively budget friendly aggro deck that's going to win or lose pretty quickly, either way you'll have a time efficient way of getting your daily gold in order to power your draft entries. And if you're thinking this is going to take up lots of extra time and take time away from your main account, it really doesn't have to, because playing a mono red deck like this, for example, you're going to have your win or loss in 3 to 4 minutes. So you might only have to do maybe 10 minutes a day if you want to do this every day in order to get at least one win and to get your daily quests. And that will get you a quick draft every 6 days. If you have more time to invest and you can get up to 4 wins a day, then a quick draft every 4 to 4.5 days is really good. And that's what you can get if you do that many wins in a day. I wouldn't ever bother trying to get more than 4 wins in a day on your second account, because the amount of gold you get after those first 4 wins is so small, it doesn't make a very big difference. And we don't even care about the extra cards you can get from your daily wins, because we don't care about collection on our second account. So it doesn't mean anything to us at all. So play as many draft games on the day as you want to. But when you're trying to build up your gold again to pay for your next quick draft, there really isn't any point in getting more than 4 wins in a day. So with your gold, you go to the quick draft events. And like I said, you can either enter whatever the quick draft is right now if you want to just get practice in general at doing drafts, or save up all the gold and the gems that you've got so that when the time comes around that the quick draft is no longer Midnight Hunt, it might be Phyrexia or Will-Be-One or whatever the current set is, the most recent set, you can save it all up and do lots of quick drafts in that first week. Normally there's a 2-week window of quick draft changing sets, so you could even potentially spend the first week doing lots of practice on your second account and taking everything you've learned to the second week where you play on your main account, and you should be doing much better at quick drafts then than if you hadn't done the practice. And a couple of other tips for a second account. Do we care about wildcards? Not at all. I have some wildcards here, not very much, but I haven't had to use them for anything because I don't care what my collection is like on this second account. And would you ever get the Mastery Pass? Well, you would have to pay 3,400 gems to get back 1,200 in rewards if you get enough XP to go all the way along here and collect all the gems back. The only thing that would really help on this account is getting the player draft token, so we could enter a premier draft as well and get some practice with premier drafting. But even if we get to the point where we're earning enough XP to get all the gem rewards on our second account, the Mastery Pass, which costs 3,400, would give us a refund of 1,200 from all of these gem rewards, which means we're spending 2,200 gems still on the Mastery Pass. And the most important thing we get here is worth 1,500 gems if we were to pay that to enter a Premier Draft event anyway. So we're paying an extra 700 gems to get all these other packs or card styles, and I can't really see any other reason apart from getting a little bit more gold, but it's not going to be enough to make a difference. No reason why you'd ever need to buy the Mastery Pass on your second account. So any gems you get from draft events will go straight back into doing more draft events. So I have 1,220 gems at the moment. I can pay for one more draft event, and if I get a good few gems from that draft event, if I don't do terribly and lose all 3 games, then I'll have enough gems to then pay for another draft event. So you definitely don't want to be spending a net 2,200 gems on a Mastery Pass every 3 months, when those gems could just go towards playing other quick draft games. You can also use your second account for doing things like the midweek magic events, especially if there's something like this week's, which is the Phantom Sealed event, because we've done the Phantom Sealed on our main account, or I have at least. If you want to then get extra practice at doing Sealed or these other Phantom Limited events that come up every so often, then you can basically get extra practice on your second account. It's a Phantom event, which means the cards are not even added to our collection. Not that we care, so this is just as good as doing any other Sealed event. So I could even just open the pack, get my 6 packs of sealed, my 6 sealed packs for the event, see what I get, and go, okay, well, I can see if I can make a good deck out of this. Maybe green and black, as my rares cover green and black. And with these, or there could be some synergy between my creatures dying and bringing my creatures back from the graveyard to the battlefield, possibly. Who knows? Either way, you could just take the cards that you get from that Phantom Sealed event and make the best deck that you can out of that. You get some more practice at doing sealed events using different cards or getting different cards from packs than you got in your main account. So that's my #1 tip for getting better at draft events. It's just to get more practice. And the best way to get more practice is have a second account, prioritize the gold that you get, and reinvest your gems back into draft events. And you can do at least an extra draft every week if you want to. You might even be able to do a draft event every 2 or 3 days if you earn enough gems to keep reinvesting those. So just think how much practice you're going to get in draft games by having a second account that only focuses on getting gold and playing the draft games. Doesn't care at all about buying packs, don't care about golden packs, don't care about getting the individual card rewards, don't care about wild cards. Basically anything else you care about on your main account when you're trying to build a collection doesn't matter to us in a second account. And you might be wondering, can I do this on a third account? Can I do this on a fourth account? Well, yes, I guess in theory you can do it on as many accounts as you want, but at some point you're going to get to the point where you've just got too many accounts going on, and it's going to be very hard to keep up with earning gold on every account or getting enough wins on each account to keep building up the gold that you want. So it completely depends on you and how much time you have to invest in getting better at draft. But having at least one extra account is a good thing. If you want more than that, completely up to you. And there are lots of other things I could say about doing draft games and ways you could get better at doing draft events and winning more games, but they all build on this one first tip. So let me know in the comments below if you have a second account. Have you heard this tip before? Have you tried it out before? It works pretty well for me. I've got to do lots of extra draft games on this second account, and I've still got enough gold and gems to enter another 2 or 3 events. And obviously I need to catch up with doing my daily quests because I haven't been doing it enough recently. But let me know if you have any other tips for having a second account or anything you do that I haven't mentioned already. And don't forget, you can like this video and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on any future videos. Thanks for watching to the end, and I will see you in the next one.